Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
This is your host, Alicia DeBrell from Insight Media. Today's guest is John Grab from Grab Consulting Plus. He works with business owners, CEOs, managers, as well as individuals to help them realize and meet their full potential, specializing on leadership, team building, and employee engagement, along with business planning and strategies. He also does executive and personal coaching, public speaking, and training on a multitude of subjects. So, without further ado, I want to welcome John Grab to the show.
Hello, Alicia. How are you tonight?
Well, I would say it is definitely a good one, and I'm excited about this interview. So can you do me a favor? Can you tell me a little bit about yourself and your business experience?
Sure. I guess what I would do is I would start way back in the beginning. I grew up in a single-parent home. My mother and father divorced when I was probably about 6 years old. Didn't have a lot of guidance. My mother was an active alcoholic, and she died when I was 19 years old. Like I said, I didn't have a lot of guidance. I didn't have a lot of support. I was kind of left to kind of figure things out on my own. And through this process, I made a bunch of mistakes and made some pretty bad decisions, struggled with some addiction for quite some time, and then pulled myself out of that with the help of some of my friends and people that I found that had found a new way to live, and kind of started to figure life out after that, and kind of struggled with employment and just not really trying to figure out what I was going to be doing with my life. I did a lot of construction work. I did trees. I did custom remodels of homes for a number of years. And the truth be told, I wasn't really finding any type of fulfillment in my work at all. And through my struggles with addiction and that part of my life, I was led to the addiction treatment field. And I started working there probably in the early 2000s, did an intern counseling ship with a program in California, and did that for a number of years, and really found that I was kind of good at it. And I kind of messed around with that for a little while, started doing some interventions, and started doing some coaching and stuff around recovery and stuff of that nature, and really found a lot of personal fulfillment. And really just started to really gravitate towards that and found some success there. And I said, well, maybe this is what I'm supposed to be doing with my life. So in 2010, I moved to Arizona from San Diego, and I started a treatment center with a couple of individuals. That treatment center has been a fairly successful endeavor now. We went from pretty much an executive sober living environment to a full-blown treatment center that now has about 100 active beds in it. Through that process, I worked my way through the ranks in the industry, from the ground level of support staff and some clinical work and admissions and intake, transportation, up into operations, up into somewhat of a management role. I found a lot of fulfillment and a lot of reward in that work. What happened for me through that process was I did a lot of client interaction. I did a lot of client to clinician work for quite some time. And when I transitioned into a management role, things really began to change for me. And I had this paradigm shift. And it was interesting for me because I was so used to working with clients and teaching them and engaging with them and motivating them and working with them and trying to help them rebuild their lives. And then I transitioned to being a supervisor in a management role. And it was interesting for me because I had this mentality that said, look, they pay to be here and you're paid to be here. I just need you to do your job. I had an interesting experience one day. In a matter of about 2 hours' time, I had two different people come up to me. And the first person came up to me and said, you operate from a place of intimidation. You're unapproachable. People are afraid to talk to you. You make people cry, and all this stuff that was kind of like this tyrant boss person, which was affected me in a way. Kind of like, wow, that's not really cool. That's not a really good boss or anything like that. And then within an hour to 2 hour period, I had another individual come up to me and say, when you're working with those clients, John, it is unbelievable what happens. You engage with them, you motivate them, and you inspire them. They listen to you. It is just magic to watch you work with them. And I caught myself looking at this situation like two different people. And how can I be perceived as this way with one person, one group of people, and then this other way with another group of people? And I really had to ask myself, what is this all about? And what I realized, I asked myself, why can't I work with these people the same way I work with these people? And what I realized is that I can. So I had to do some work on myself. And through that process, through some guidance and through some coaching and some counseling, I was able to find the ability to kind of shift my thought process in the way that I was working with people. And things really began to change for me from that point forward. My management career kind of skyrocketed. I went from just being a supervisor over a small group of people to program development, program manager, executive director, all the way up into director of operations, where I was no longer just being a supervisor. I was actually building teams and developing program and writing policies and really building this company. And it really was enlightening for me to find that I could go from this one place to a place where I was really making a difference in people's lives in a totally different way. It was no longer just about helping people rebuild their lives. It was about building people in general. It was really quite amazing. As I look back on it now, I'm really just kind of blown away on how that shift happened for me. And it was quite interesting. And what I really found out is through this process was that I was really good at this thing. I was really good at building teams. I was really good at getting people engaged. I was really good at motivating people and inspiring people. I was really, really good at figuring stuff out and getting into the solution instead of staying focused on the problem. So it was really a lot of fun for me, and I found a lot of enjoyment in it and a lot of challenges. So most of my career has really been working with people. First, trying to help people rebuild their lives, and then, like I said, and then transitioning into a more of a management, supervisory, and directorship, where I really began to build people and build teams and really start to work not in the company, but on the company and helping it grow and helping it develop and being a big part of that growth process that we went through, which was very rewarding. And I learned a lot. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of hard work, and it was very rewarding for me.
I love the story, and I love how your personal struggle led to your professional future. So tell me about your coaching business. Who do you help, and how do you help them?
Well, right now at this point in my career, what I'm doing is I'm working with businesses. I'm working with business owners in their leadership teams, with their management teams, and just with their teams to try to focus with them on professional and personal development. Try to help them increase productivity, engagement, cohesion, and collaboration. It really is about helping them see their potential and helping them kind of figure some things out. A lot of strategic planning goes into some of this. Some of it is one-on-one coaching. It really depends on the situation. But pretty much I'm focusing on businesses, business owners, CEOs, and professional and personal development really is what it's all about for me right now. Helping businesses grow and succeed is where I'm focusing now in this part of my career, in this part of my journey. I like to call it my journey.
Definitely. So, that's a big transition going from the director of operations to a business coach and a personal development coach. What made you make that change?
I think it was realizing where my skill set really was. I found that I could really help people. And what happened for me was I was in a leadership course one day, and we were talking about, the teacher was presenting about a bunch of different situations and scenarios, and I was relating a lot of it to my work. And when I was looking around the auditorium at this presentation, what I was seeing were high leadership professionals from churches. I saw CEOs from business organizations. I saw C-suite executives. And they were all talking about stuff that I had already done. with smaller groups of people at lower levels within organizations. And what I realized was that if I broadened my perspective, I could make a bigger impact in the world. And I have a personal mission statement. And my personal mission statement is to make a difference in the world by working to influence change, by broadening people's perspective of who they are. And for me, what that is it's a relentless commitment to make a difference in the world, to make a positive impact. And I really started to think about the impact that I had the potential of making outside of the addiction space and the addiction treatment world. And I really thought that I came to understand that we all get stuck at certain times. We all need some direction. We all get in these ruts, whether it's a business rut, whether it's a personal rut, whatever it is, we all get stuck at times. And I started really thinking about what I could do and how I could help people that never had any problems with addiction. And I made a decision. I said, I want to try to do something different. I want to step out of my normal sphere of influence and see what I can do in just helping people. And I found a lot of reward. I found a lot of parallels and a lot of similarities in human behavior with people that I could use my skill set to help them transition out of that, to fulfill a little bit more potential, to even find a little bit more potential within themselves. So it really came from the desire to make a bigger impact, to step out of my comfort zone where I was very skilled and very versed in the arena, to step out of that and impact more people. And that's where it really came from. And I find I'm finding a lot of personal fulfillment from the work that I do today in this new venture. And I'm very excited about where it's going to take me and the people that I get to meet and be a part of their journey. For me, it's all about building people and helping people grow and bringing something positive to other people's lives. My tagline for my company is "Our service is serving you." And I believe that it's about providing a service. It's about adding value to people, to organizations, to what they're doing and how I can help them achieve their full-time goals. And it's pretty exciting stuff. So it seems like a really big shift, but if you look at it from my eyes anyway, it seems like a natural flow of where it's supposed to go. It may not look that way to everybody, but that's kind of the way I see it. That's my vision, and I see it taking form and growing and taking a life of its own. And I'm very excited about the new venture in my journey.
No, I love it. I love the passion. I love the heart behind it. I love how just driven you are about it. So you kind of answered my next question, but maybe you can give me the short and sweet of it. What is your role as a business coach?
That's an interesting question because it's different with everybody. It really depends on who they are, what they're looking for, and where they're stuck. Really, if you break it down to the clean and simple, it's a fresh set of eyes, a fresh perspective, some guidance from someone that's not influenced by the internal politics of the company or the organization. But like I said, it's constantly changing. But my real goal really is to help my clients achieve the goals and desires and shift their perceptions of what is possible. I never go into an organization or a business or an individual when I'm coaching with them and tell them what to do. My goal really is to help them see things from a little bit of a different perspective. I believe that perception is everything. And if I change my perception, everything around me can change as well. That's really the goal, is kind of broaden their horizon and broaden their view of things and hopefully give them some direction and some guidance.
What are some typical reasons someone might want to work with a business coach? I know all the reasons why they wouldn't, because, they don't want to kind of open up those, broaden their horizons, and they're kind of stuck in that rut. But what are some typical reasons somebody or a business organization would want to hire somebody like you?
I would say lack of employee engagement, lack of productivity, unclear vision. They're just not meeting their goals, whether it's a financial bottom line or their employees just aren't fulfilling what they need from them, whether it's a leadership issue, a management issue. We all know the common saying, people don't leave jobs, they leave managers. And my goal with people is always to build them up, like I've said countless times already. But I think that the reason they would want to is want to hire a coach or bring in a consultant is, to clarify the vision. to bring some fresh eyes, to kind of clear the fog away and give them some guidance and direction. It's interesting because it's so different for everybody, why they hire consultants or they bring in a coach, whatever they do. I think if I was to take a look at some of my prior clients, it always seems to be is that they're willing to do the work and they know they don't have the answers. So they're going to seek outside help, which is a valuable asset. To recognize that you need help and to seek guidance is an invaluable asset to have. And most people are reluctant to do that because there's pride gets involved and ego gets involved and we're supposed to be able to figure this out on our own. But when they can come to that place where they know they need some help and they're seeking assistance, that really becomes the key for them. So it really is, for clarity, clarify vision. Once again, clarify vision, kind of clear the fog and give them some unbiased guidance would be most what I would say in this moment of why people would hire a coach or a consultant.
Okay. Can you give me some examples of, which hurdles that you find that most of your clients have in common? I mean, you kind of went over that, but is there typical? Is it the same thing like they know they need change, but they just don't have the answers? Or, what are some of the hurdles you find that are the most common that they're trying to overcome?
I think the biggest one, to put it in a nutshell, is it's fear, it's uncertainty, it's doubt. Those are the key things, and so many things stem off from that fear and that uncertainty. They just can't seem to move forward. They just, whether there's infighting within the organization, there's political silos going on, there's division within the ranks, there's leadership issues, there's so many different things, but the most prevalent thing that I see is fear, and it all stems from fear in the most part. They don't know what to do. They don't know how to get there. You know what I mean? So they're looking for answers. But fear is really the core of it all.
And they kind of get paralyzed by their fear and doubt.
Paralyzed is a good way to put it. They get stuck in belief systems and routines. And a common theme in leadership is the most dreaded saying is we've always done it like that. And that's a bad place to be as an organization that's trying to grow and succeed and move to the next level. Is we don't always do it like that. We need something different, and taking that step outside the box and reaching out and getting some help is scary for most people.
What sets you aside from other coaches in the industry? Because I can go on LinkedIn or Facebook or pretty much anywhere and find 15,000 other coaches or consultants. What sets you aside from the other ones and the other coaches in your industry?
I think myself personally, it is, once again, my relentless commitment to make a difference, a heart of servitude, of service, and my personal experience of coming through life, of the upbringing that I had, the overcoming of the adversity, the dedication and the commitment to my craft, just everything that I've personally been able to overcome gives me a really different perspective on life in general and on overcoming adversity, on what success means, what failure means, and how you can use those things as a catalyst for growth and as a catalyst for success. I'm not a magician. I don't have all the answers. I don't have all the rest of that stuff. But what I do have is I have a lot of personal experience of working with people and helping people overcome adversity, helping people rebuild their lives, helping people to grow and to change. But I think more than anything else is my personal commitment to whoever I'm working with. That dedication, the integrity that I practice in my own personal life bleeds over into my business. So I'm a very principle-oriented individual, and I run my business very principle-oriented. The way I see things is sacrifice principles in order to gain monetary gain is only going to take more from me than I could ever possibly gain. And that is, I bring that to the table in my professional endeavors, my professional relationships, and it's just so much of who I am comes forth in the work that I do. It's not really work to me. It's more of a personal dedication and commitment to people and to life in general. I'm not going to say that nobody else has that, because I'm sure that there's many coaches and consultants out there that come to the same table with the same thing. But I don't know. When you've been where I've been and come from where I've come from, and things that fuel me are very much different than what fuel most people. I have a lot of professional relationships, and I know that I'm somewhat different from most people when it comes to that. And I believe that I bring that to the table with any of the clients that I'm working with, whether the businesses or the individuals.
So what are some common outcomes someone should expect when they hire you as a business coach?
That's a very interesting question and kind of a tough one to answer for me, because I believe that the answers that they're going to find are hopefully what they're looking for. But I would say from a business standpoint, I would say increased productivity, increased engagement with their employees. I would say a more understanding with their leadership team, if I'm working with the leadership team, really a different type of culture within the organization when I leave, and when the whole process is done, however long that process would be with them. It's definitely going to be, well, I would hope that it would be definitely a different type of environment for everybody involved. From a personal level, as far as like from executive coaching, I would think a broader perspective of what they're capable of, clearer vision within their goals. And I would also say that I'm fairly systematic. So I create some systems with your goals and where you're trying to get to, and helping them map that out and creating a system. So I would say a little bit more clarity on where they're going and how they're going to get there. And once again, that is it's kind of a tough question. I would hope that the results would be they're seeing things a little bit different. Once again, I'll go back to clarity, a little bit more clarity and a little bit of a different perspective of what they're capable of, what their potential is. And from a business standpoint, it would be, I would say, increased productivity, more cohesion, the ability to collaborate, more open lines of communication between different departments or divisions, and just some cohesion.
The success of the coaching process, how is that measured? How do I know it's working?
That's pretty simple, because from initial assessment and consultation, we're going to get together and we're going to kind of map this thing out. We're going to create some, what I like to call strategic plan. A strategic plan is going to have certain goals. It's going to have certain markers. It's going to have certain things that are going to have to be met by time. There's going to be timelines. I call it goals, roles, objectives, and timelines is what the terms that I use. And we're going to work towards those goals. And if we're missing those markers over any length of period of time, we're going to have to reel it in. We're going to have to reassess. We're going to find out where the obstacle is, what's causing us to not meet these markers. What are we going to do to overcome whatever obstacle that we're in? I try to keep everything very solution-based. So if there's an obstacle, there's always a solution. Obstacles are merely opportunities in disguise. So if we're not meeting our markers, we need to look at why we're not meeting them and what's impeding us from making those progress. But the measurement is going to be through that strategic plan, through the objectives, and through the timelines. It's all going to be, it's time-driven, it's progress-driven, it's, if we're looking at employee engagement, if that's our goal is employee engagement, and we're not seeing our employees engage, then we're going to have to reassess. We're going to have to meet with the team again. We're going to have to go through some different steps to try to get them engaged and find out what is causing them to not engage. Working with the people, working with the frontline employees, or whatever part of the team it may be. Everything has a timeline. Everything has a marker and a goal, and we have to meet those markers. And that's how we measure for our success. We have an end goal, which is our key main objective. But in order to get to the main objective, we have little pit stops along the way, little rest areas, if you may, where we can kind of take a breath and assess and really start to celebrate our success. Because if we're only going to enjoy the end goal, it's going to be a lot of hard work to get there. And what I have found is that if we measure and celebrate our small successes along the way, we're going to create momentum. And it's with that momentum that we move forward each and every time as we take these rest spots and reassess and reorganize and kind of maybe replan, because it's not always just A to B, B to C, C to D. Sometimes it's A to B, B to A to C. Sometimes we have to take detours and deviate from any plan. But as long as we're consistently making progress towards the main objective and the main goal, it will be evident. It's not something that you will be able to deny or not be able to see. And the main thing really is if we're hitting obstacles, It's to join forces and reassess the situation and get into the solution and find out how we can get over this rock, under this rock, around it, or through it, because there's always some way to move forward. It's finding that way, getting with the team, with the leadership, and finding a way to overcome that obstacle and move forward. There's no stopping and there's no giving up in this situation. We're going to push through this. We're going to figure out what's going on and what we need to change in order to get to where we're going. Measurement is fairly simple to see because of those markers that we set in initial assessment and consultation, where we're going and how we're going to get there.
Makes sense. You set up certain measurements and goals, and during the initial consultation, and you do what you have to do in order to achieve them.
It's a process, and like I said, it's not always going to be, really easy, and it's not always going to come just like that. We're going to hit obstacles. There's going to be barriers. We're going to encounter, maybe it's a resistant employee. Maybe it's resistant leadership. There's all kinds of different things that could get in our way. If you just keep moving forward, and like I said, probably the biggest thing is celebrating those small successes along the way really takes that momentum to the next level, and people really start to get going. And that's where I have found the greatest success is recognizing our forward movement and celebrating those small victories along the way.
So why do you think hiring a coach works?
That's really simple. I mean, you look at anybody that is successful in any endeavor, whether it's sports, whether it's music, whether it's singing, whether it's dancing, all those people that got to be the best all had coaches. So if you want to improve at something, if you want to be better than you are, you better get some help. And that's really all this is. It's no different from a sports coach. It's no different from a singing coach or a dancing coach. It's really no different than that. If you want to improve and you want to get better, you better get some help. And that's what coaching and consulting really is all about, is that it's improving your potential. It's improving your percentage of success. Bring someone in that's going to help you do it. And there's really no other reason to hire a coach other than you want to improve. That really puts it in a nutshell. It's, once again, if you want to be better, if you want to be the best, you better get some help.
So what are a few practices somebody can implement immediately to begin to overcome some of these, either emotional or business hurdles?
Boy, once again, that comes right back to the individual. But I would say attitude is everything. I say an attitude of gratitude is going to take you a really far way. I would say get in touch with your feelings. Recognize your feelings. Become very self-aware. This is about development, personal development, professional development. Is some tough work. Getting in touch with your feelings, finding out what's going on, what's causing you to feel these ways, what's causing you to act these ways. Journaling is a really powerful tool. Meditation is a real powerful tool. And just really trying to focus on the things that are going right in your life. Once again, I go back into my history and I look back at my life and there's a lot of things there that aren't the greatest. But as I move forward in life and life shows up and things happen. But whenever I'm able to focus on the things that are going right, focus on the things that I do have going for me, focus on the good things in my life, you can't be sad and glad at the same time. It takes more muscles to frown than it does to smile. Staying in a state of positivity. So remaining grateful and trying to focus on the gratitude. Once again, I'll go back to journaling is a powerful tool. Meditation is extremely beneficial. I have found it extremely beneficial to myself. And then talking to somebody and finding some type of an arena where you can talk about what's going on with you, whether it's with myself, with a coach, with a counselor, whatever that looks like, or your team, creating an arena where you can speak to each other, without fear of reprisal or anything like that, and getting honest with yourself and truly assessing, who you are and where you're going and why you want to get there and talking about that and taking some positive action. But for the most part, I got to say the most powerful thing that I have today in my life is gratitude. And I hang on to that with both hands and I hang on to it really tight because it's the one thing that can snap me out of it just really quick. When things are going sideways or things are going south, I got to remember, I'm breathing free air and I take a deep breath and I realize it didn't cost me a nickel and I got a lot to be grateful for. And no matter what it is, I can find a way out of it and just move forwards and stay in the solution.
Gratitude. So if you had one piece of advice that you could give somebody that is looking to take their business to the next level, what would that be?
I would ask them why. Why do you want to go to where you're going? What is your purpose? I have 3 core beliefs, and they are passion, purpose, and perseverance. Why you want to take it to the next level? Why are you in business? Why do you want to make these changes? If you can attach your passion to your purpose, then you really are unstoppable. Figure out the why, and then the how and the what will come later. If you have a plan, if you know where you want to go and you know why you want to go there, and that why becomes a necessary, becomes a must, nothing can really stop you. If you focus on the why, everything else becomes secondary, and the why will drive you, it will propel you, it will catapult you forward if that why is strong enough, if you make it a must. And that's where passion comes from. And that's where, when you instill passion with purpose, I have found in my own life that when I am in that zone, I really am unstoppable. And it always comes back to why I'm doing what I'm doing. Why am I doing this? Why am I embarking on this new endeavor? Because I want to make a bigger difference in the world. It all comes down to figuring out your why and applying that passion to your purpose. And the rest, is hard work and dedication.
Definitely. And nothing's supposed to come easy. You're supposed to have to work for it in order to enjoy it and to really, when things come easy, it's different. People don't really appreciate the benefits of it. When they have to work hard for it, the benefits and the profits are so much more worthwhile, if that makes sense.
It's much more rewarding. If I'm not going to appreciate the fact that if someone hands me the keys to a 750 Li BMW, am I going to really appreciate that as much as if I had to work and save my money and purchase that car? I'm going to take care of something that I've worked for a lot better. I don't know why that is, and maybe it's not that way for everybody. I don't know, but I know I appreciate the things that I have today in my life because I've worked really hard for them. And I appreciate the life that I have today even more so, which allows me to be in so much gratitude most of the time, is because where I've come from and what I've been able to, the adversity I've been able to overcome, and the challenges that I've faced, and the failures that I've overcome, and the success that I get to experience today is a result of hard work, dedication, and a lot of blessings. I've been blessed abundantly.
So tell me this, if somebody wanted to get a hold of you for either personal development or maybe a business coach, how would they go about doing that?
Well, there's a multitude of ways. I mean, they could go to the website, which is www.grabconsultingplus.com. They could email me at john@grabconsultingplus.com, my email. They could find me on Facebook, my Grab Consulting Plus Facebook page, or you could find me on LinkedIn under John Grab. I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Facebook, I have a web page, or they could actually call. I have a 24-hour cell phone number that I sleep with. My wife hates it, which is 858-337-3038. And I won't say I work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, but I do remain available for a good portion of each day.
First of all, I want to thank you for your time today. I love that you've just been through so much, and you've taken all of the things that life, unfortunately, that you've had to endure in your life and made it into such a positive outcome. And it's amazing to hear your passion, your love, how you talk about gratitude, hard work, being relentless, and your dedication to your clients. I think it's very powerful, and I think anybody would be very lucky to have you as their either personal development coach or maybe a business coach. And I really appreciate your time today. This was a really good interview.
Well, thank you so much, Alicia. I'm very honored and privileged that I got an opportunity to share with your listeners and be a part of their lives. So, the honor truly is mine, and it's a privilege and an honor once again. And thank you so much for this chance to share a little bit of my world with you and with your listeners. And I look forward to any future endeavors we may have. So thank you very much. Thank you once again.
All right, guys. This is your host, Alicia Dubrell from Insight Media. Until next time.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.